Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to distill this morning's massive 6 a.m. news brief into the absolute clearest, big-picture view you need to jumpstart your week.
So, it is exactly 6 a.m. Central Time on Monday, June 29, 2026. Right now, all across the globe, policymakers, investors, and tech leaders are waking up to dozens of entirely distinct headlines. But let's be real, just reading a laundry list of headlines doesn't actually give you the full narrative, right? Our goal today is to synthesize all that raw data into a cohesive landscape that actually makes sense.
Okay, let's just dive right into it. Today we're structuring all these developments around three main macro stories. 1, diplomacy and global stability. 2, the AI infrastructure boom. And 3, markets, data, and culture.
Starting off with part 1, diplomacy and global stability.
We're watching an incredibly fascinating balancing act unfold right now. On one side of the equation, the US and Iran are entering a really pivotal week of diplomacy, trying to hammer out a longer-term framework. But then on the flip side, this exact diplomatic effort is directly offsetting supply concerns and basically stabilizing global oil markets. It's a perfect example of energy moving in absolute lockstep with diplomacy.
But while those negotiations are taking center stage, global leaders are also having to navigate this incredibly complex web of other pressure points. We're talking about everything from the continuing long-range drone strikes in the Ukraine-Russia conflict to a severe European heat wave that's heavily straining physical infrastructure and public health. Throw in intense maritime monitoring in the Strait of Hormuz and ongoing domestic debates over border and immigration policy, and well, you've got an incredibly delicate global chessboard right now.
Interestingly enough, global energy markets aren't just shifting because of geopolitics, which brings up a massive, absolutely crucial question for our next topic. How is the AI boom impacting our physical infrastructure? Because AI is the defining technology story of our time, but guys, it's clearly no longer just a software story.
Which brings us right into part 2, the AI infrastructure boom.
To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this, we've got to talk about hyperscalers. These are the massive cloud service providers operating the global data centers that handle enterprise-level computing. And the thing is, they aren't just buying up servers anymore. They are aggressively accelerating their global AI capacity, which is driving a massive, very physical construction boom all over the world.
And here's the kicker. These massive facilities suck up an unbelievable amount of electricity. AI-powered demands are actually reshaping utility planning from the ground up. It's forcing rapid grid modernization and even bringing renewed policy attention right back to nuclear energy. Utilities are basically being forced to completely scrap and overhaul their long-term growth strategies, because the grid is literally being rewired for artificial intelligence. But it's not all happening in these giant, centralized power hogs. We're also seeing this rapid, massive acceleration in what's called edge AI. That means deploying AI applications directly onto local devices or edge servers, rather than running everything through centralized clouds. It brings the processing power right to the end user, accelerating enterprise automation and drastically lowering latency for businesses across the board.
Now, it's pretty fascinating to see exactly why all this physical infrastructure is suddenly so necessary. AI is fundamentally reshaping everything, all at once. It's actively assisting patient diagnostics and shortening drug discovery timelines in healthcare. It's accelerating scientific discovery and robotics in space exploration. And it's totally transforming how developers write software, which is making workforce upskilling a massive corporate priority right now. The impact is absolute, and it hits every single sector.
Because of that pervasive cross-sector impact, capital is just flooding the zone. Investment is incredibly hyper-targeted at the moment. We're seeing heavy focus on Microsoft's enterprise AI, SpaceX's launch dominance, and critical defensive moats like cybersecurity spending. All of this is happening right alongside steady, heavy investments in quantum computing and next-gen semiconductor innovation.
Finally, let's bring it back down to earth with part 3, markets, data, and culture.
Kicking off what's shaping up to be an extremely busy week, investors are basically glued to inflation and interest rate expectations. Everyone's eagerly waiting for a heavy schedule of economic reports to drop, looking for any fresh data on employment and manufacturing. Meanwhile, on Main Street, housing affordability continues to be a persistent, everyday challenge across the nation.
Culturally speaking, we're looking at a super high-energy timeline right now. In just a matter of days, we're going to hit the Independence Day travel peak, which is shaping up to be one of the absolute busiest weeks of the entire year. Looking out over the next few weeks, audiences are flocking back for a massive summer movie season.
And looking years ahead, long-term preparations are actually already well underway for America's 250th anniversary celebrations. And honestly, across the globe right now, outside of all the heavy economic data and the tech infrastructure news, the world's collective attention is firmly locked on the pitch. World Cup knockout matches are absolutely dominating the global sports conversation. It's capturing worldwide attention and proving, once again, that live entertainment and sports media rights are stronger than they've ever been.
So, to wrap up today's explainer, seeing the sheer unprecedented scale of global transition today leaves us with a massive question to ponder for the week ahead. As these massive AI power demands and shifting geopolitics completely reshape the globe, are our traditional economic indicators even ready for what comes next? We are watching a fundamental rewiring of energy grids, diplomatic frameworks, and enterprise tech, all in real time. Keep that question in the back of your mind as this week's data rolls in. Thanks so much for joining me, and stay curious.